Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Better Horses. This is going to be a 30-minute program dedicated to the education and advancement of our horse knowledge,
where we bring you the best in equine trainers, nutritionists, veterinarians, and equine events from all over the country to help us become the best horsemen and horsewomen that we can be.
Hi, I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Susie Arbo.
And welcome to Better Horses.
Let's begin by sliding over to Kansas as Brent Wright, our $1 million reining trainer, presents his step-by-step technique in teaching the turnaround on your horse.
And Susie, next, we plan to take time out to talk to Jan Hulsebos from the Netherlands, whose family specializes in custom-made saddles for over 3 generations. Now, Jan's travels to the U.S. and gives his expert knowledge in manufacturing a custom saddle for the English rider.
Wrapping it up with our own Chuckwagon, Mark Berkdahl invites Ernie Rodina for another special Hardy Grub.
So before you saddle up, stay with us for another exciting episode of Better Horses. And it's the only horse show on your local broadcast television station.
And also airing on RFD TV and the Cowboy Channel.
We'll be right back.
Those of us who devote our lives to the animals we love can recall a kind of dawning, like a seed planted deep within us and it taken root and begun to grow. It's why our family built a company dedicated to supporting the animals we all care for and this lifestyle we share.
No matter what discipline of riding you do, training, showing, and everyday stress is hard on your horse's legs. Decra Veterinary Products is a leading lameness company that brought you Osphos. Osphos is a clodronate injection, an intramuscular bisphosphonate to help control the clinical signs of navicular syndrome in horses 4 years and older. Ask your veterinarian if Osphos is right for your horse. Decra Veterinary Products is a proud sponsor of The American.
Hi, I'm Brent Wright, and I'd like to welcome you out to the place today. We're going to do a little video, and we appreciate the Better Horses Network coming out and filming us here, and Karina for all that they do for us, and Brummel Farm Service for the wonderful service that they give us, and we just appreciate you all watching today. But I get asked every now and then, how do I get my horse started to turn around? So I'm going to do a little demonstration maybe of how I get my horses started turning. And before I get a horse to where he'll step around in a spin, we have to have some tools on him. We have to have him where he's a little bit responsive off our leg and off the rein pressure. And so this horse is a 4-year-old, and he's had a lot of riding. I mean, a year and a half or more of riding, so he's supposedly getting pretty broke at doing some of this stuff. But as we start the younger horses, after 30 days on a 2-year-old, I start to making them get off my leg, or ask them to get off my leg a little bit. So I do a lot of just walking around, and I'll use a wall for a little bit of a brace when I start teaching them to get off my leg, because when I first walk a colt over here to this fence and ask him to get off my leg, he doesn't understand. So I'll just use that to stop my forward motion, and use my right leg and kick until I get him moving off my leg a little bit. So I'll do that, and then at the same time I'm taking a hold of them a little bit, getting a hold of their chin just a little bit, and then I'll use my left leg to push him back through that turn the other way. And they're not going to do that the first few times you ask them. You're going to have to bump on your horse a little bit and get him to moving off your leg to where he understands that when you put that leg on him, he needs to move over and get off your leg. Same thing with the rein pressure. And I don't teach a horse to do one maneuver and then go teach him to do another. I kind of combine everything. So I'm trying to get my horses broke from front to back, and I say from front to back. I want to get them where I can get a hold of their face and pull them around. but I also want to get a hold of that, get control of that hind quarters, where I can drive that hind end around in front of around the front end. And then I'll get them to where I move that rib cage over and knock them off my leg that way. Get them where I can knock them off my leg the other way. And then gradually, as we progress, after 4 or 5 months of riding, I start to get them to where they're moving that front end a little more fluidly. And I'll stop the forward motion more with my hands and get them to bump them and get them to pick that shoulder up and move over just a little bit more. And from there, I've just progressed baby steps at a time, just don't put much pressure on them. But if they just resist and are not figuring it out, then I'll bump until they learn to get off my leg. And sometimes you have to get a little more aggressive. Some horses have more feel than others. But then eventually, after 6 months or so, I'll start trotting some little circles and maybe stop and ask my horse to start moving that shoulder around that turn a little bit more. So, you just have to be patient, but yet you still have to be fairly demanding if you want to get your horse responsive and get him off of your leg and off the rein pressure. So it's not just getting them off your leg; it's getting them where they're getting off this rein pressure. So I want to pick that rein up, and then I might go to my leg and ask him to turn around. Now, one thing that I sure stress is as I'm teaching them to do that forward turn around or that spin, I'll also stop them, back them into their face, and be able to draw them back over their hocks a little bit, and more of a rollback turn. This is more of a turn that you would use if you was working a cow or that flag over there on the fence. You want to get them to where you can get a hold of them, get them back. And if they're not backing up off your hands, then I'll go to their belly and then just draw them back through themselves and make them get through that turn a little more on their hocks. But for the spin, we want that to be just a little more of it's not really a forward motion, it's not really a backward motion, but it's just moving that shoulder and making that shoulder go around the front end. To where they're not going backwards and they're not going forward. They just have to draw their back up and pick their back up and step into that turn. I hope these are some tips that will help you get your horses started to turn around. And just be patient, but don't be so patient that you don't ask your horse aggressively enough to get him off your leg. Because the first time you ask your young horse to get off your leg, he's probably not going to understand, and he's going to push into your leg, and he's going to wool on you a little bit. So get a hold of him and knock him off that leg with your spur or your foot or whatever you need to. Whatever you need to use to get him motivated. You have to motivate some more than others. If the horse is thick-hided and kind of lazy, you'll have to be just a little more aggressive that way. But anyway, I hope these tips will help you out with your turnarounds a little bit, and best of luck with your horse activities. Thanks for watching.
Hey folks, good to see you once again. The other day I had a doctor's appointment. Well, I go and I check into the receptionist. I sit down in the waiting room. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and finally they called me back. Well, the first thing that they do is they take my blood pressure. Well, my blood pressure was high. And the nurse kind of questioned me about it, and I said, well, the longer you make me wait in that waiting room, the higher it's going to be. Well, you know what? We're kind of the same way with God, aren't we? Sometimes when we go to God with stuff in our life, He lets us wait a while. He lets us go in God's waiting room before He answers us. And once again, we get all wound up. Just like I did that day at my doctor's office, we do the same thing with God. Sometimes we just need to pull back and stop and just linger for a while and just listen, waiting for Him to answer our requests. Hey, it's good to be with you folks. Hey, I'm Steve Stafford. I'm the pastor at Risen Ranch Cowboy Church. Very proud member of the Better Horses family.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these messages.
What do you get when you bring together one of the biggest names in veterinary medicine with one of the most caring and committed teams of horse health experts in the industry? You get a vaccine portfolio known for its quality and safety, a pharmaceutical line you can rely on, to help manage pain and support performance. You get the products, programs, and people of Merck Animal Health.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
No matter what discipline of riding you do, training, showing, and everyday stress is hard on your horse's legs. Dechra Veterinary Products is a leading lameness company that brought you Osphos. Osphos is a clodronate injection, an intramuscular bisphosphonate to help control the clinical signs of navicular syndrome in horses 4 years and older. Ask your veterinarian if Osphos is right for your horse. Dechra Veterinary Products is a proud sponsor of The American.
Hi, my name is Alexis Losi, and welcome back to Better Horses. Today we're at my facility in Pleasant Hill, Missouri, Crowned One Farm, and we are going to be reflocking saddles. Reflocking is the process where you take wool and you put it into the underside of our English saddles to make them balanced and to fit the horses' backs. So I have brought all the way from the Netherlands, Jan Hulsebos, who is going to be flocking our saddles. He is the owner and saddle manufacturer of Hulsebos saddles.
My name is Jan. My company is started by my grandfather. He learned a trade in Germany, Essen, and when he was 50 years old he came back to Holland, met my grandmother from 25-year-old. Together they got 14 kids, Catholic family, and he started the saddlery, harness maker actually more at that time, in Voorst, a little city in Holland. The company originally made harness for the farmers, and the girls delivered it, the boys made it at the shop, and they brought back the cheese and the eggs and the rawhides from the cows, and we had an own tannery behind the house, made the leather, we get buckles from Amsterdam, and that's how that started. We produce saddles, girth and stirrup leathers. The most important thing what we do is we look at the balance from rider and horse to create the right balance so the horse will not be brought out of balance or disturbed by the rider. It's important for Western riding, for dressage, for polo, just for endurance riding, for everything what you do, balance is important, because what you want to do with the horse, you want to build up top line, you want to build up the muscle, the right muscle tone in the neck, in the back and in the hind. And so if you don't do that, you basically interfere with the natural motion. So then all kinds of problems will happen eventually, caused by the unbalance. In Holland we say, if you sit on the back of a bicycle and you drink a whole bottle of whiskey and you flip yourself to the other side and the person who rides wants to go to the left, that's not going to work out. You will fall down. Basically the same with horse. I was at a horse show called Brackenstein, the Dutch championship dressage. There was Jane Carroll from Massachusetts who saw me working there. I had to give a demonstration saddle making in the open air. And she invited me to come to her farm, Beersport Farm, in near Boston, Massachusetts. That was for 21 years ago. And from there everything continued. The custom saddle, we charge around $53.85, including taxes, everything. We ship them from Holland to the US. A week later we arrive, unpack the box, put it on the horse and be sure everything fits correctly, and go through it with the client so that the client knows exactly how it works, give some recommendation how to use the saddle, and also anticipate on the problems we could lay ahead by developing with the saddle from the horse. So we warn them, this can happen, don't worry about it, we will take care for it, and we will be back every half year to take care for whatever your needs are as a client. First I start with the horse. How is the horse built? The conformation of the horse. For example, the quarter horse needs a different saddle than the Baroque Frisian or Andalusia or Lusitano. And a thoroughbred, for example, with a straight back, more steeper shoulder, you need to move the ride a little bit more back in order to make him light in front. You also check the horse out. How strong is the back? How is the hind built? What are the muscle tensions in the horse? And they have a little bit of information what went on before, what happened because of wrong riding. So you know, okay, this happened, this went wrong. I need to pay attention to that I catch this, and I give good recommendations to get rid of these problems, what occurred now, to make from now on the horse develop in the right way and not disturb his balance anymore. If we see other brand names, let's say they move almost always over the shoulder. The biggest problem on this moment, what's going on, there are dressage saddles with big blocks in the front and with the deepest point forward. So people dig themselves in all the way on the forehand from the horse, and the horse start bending from the top of the neck. And the problem with that is those will not go anymore. It looks like a fake picture, and let's say it ruins the horse within a couple of years. And I make really strong recommendations not to do that. I had a picture from a client with complete atrophy in the top of the neck caused by those saddles, and I warned them, do not use this kind of stuff because it just hurts the animal, and I refuse to sell that kind of saddle even if I could make a lot of money from that. So I'm too much a horse person like that. To get a hold of me, the easiest thing is to get to my rep Brent Mendelhall, or to my wife at Hulsebos Dillingham. You can email her and Brenda, and they will set up a meeting between us and you at the spot wherever you are in the states we service. My web address and my email is hulsebossaddles@horsedynamics.nl.
Today was very successful. 10 of my clients and my friends all got their saddles flocked by Jan Hulsebos. Everybody's horses now are happy. My riders are more balanced. Very successful day. I'm Alexis Losi. Thank you for watching Better Horses.
Hey cowboys and cowgirls, don't go anywhere. We have more Better Horses coming your way.
John Deere is known for quality equipment, and high quality often comes with the perception of high price. The truth is, buyers in our area who purchased a compact utility tractor from Heritage Tractor saved more than $2,000 compared to the competition. Dare to compare us before you buy. You and your wallet will be grateful you did. Nothing runs as long as a John Deere, and we'll prove it with our exclusive 10-year warranty. Learn more at heritagetractor.com/compare.
No matter what discipline of riding you do, training, showing, and everyday stress is hard on your horse's legs. Dekra Veterinary Products is a leading lameness company that brought you Osphos. Osphos is a clodronate injection, an intramuscular bisphosphonate to help control the clinical signs of navicular syndrome in horses 4 years and older. Ask your veterinarian if Osphos is right for your horse. Dekra Veterinary Products is a proud sponsor of The American.
If you're passionate about the environment and your horse's bedding, we urge you to look into WRG Eco Shred Bedding. Made from clean, recycled corrugated cardboard, Eco Shred provides absorbent, biodegradable animal bedding, vacuumed out so it's dust-free and highly absorbent. Eco Shred Bedding is made from recycled materials, perfect for horses and small animals. Save the environment and order the finest bedding for your barn. Go to nebraskawrg.org or call Heartland Horse Products at 620-637-2455.
Hello friends, I'm Bernie Rodina.
I'm Chef Del Mark.
Welcome to the Better Horses Show, where we're going to have our Hardy Grub segment, where if you're looking for healthy, change the channel. And I tell you what, I'm so great to be here, Mark, as far as with you and back in the kitchen.
Back in the kitchen, doing it all over again.
It is. So tell us a little bit what we got lined up for today.
Got some friends from Kansas City down here, so they're down enjoying the starlights and stuff out here in the country, and cook kind of a backwards meal for them. We're going to do short ribs and grits and roasted Brussels sprouts and grape pie.
It's kind of a southern dish, it sounds like.
A little bit.
We're looking forward to it and everything. So, what do you want to get started on it right now?
Yep, we'll get going on it and visit with you in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to make the crab bisque, and I make a cracker to go with the crab bisque. And it's basically pizza dough that I load full of herbs and spices, and then I grill it on my little grill there, nice and toasty, and cut it up in cracker-sized pieces. And that's the side that goes with the crab bisque. On the crab bisque, you take butter and you melt it down, and then you sweat all your vegetables, the onions, garlic, corn, peppers. Sweat it down until they're tender. Add a little flour to it. Toast the flour a little bit. Add a bunch of cream to it. And cook that until it thickens a little bit. When that gets ready, then you go to adding the cheeses to it. Sweat that all down good. When it gets all melted good, you might have to adjust the thickness on it a little bit with some more milk. And right at the last, I add the crab. If you add the crab too early, it'll break up and you won't even notice it's in there. There's a few other spices, some crab boil you put in there, a little Worcester sauce, a little hot sauce. For the Brussels sprouts, basically you just cut them in half, coat them with some good oil, season them with my steak seasoning, put them in a hot oven on a sheet pan. About halfway through the roasting process, you're going to need to turn them. The oil will kind of fry them on the bottom, and the oven will kind of toast the top of them. So turn them halfway through. When they get good and tender, right before you serve them, coat them with some balsamic vinegar. They really go over well like that. You season them up really good, and you got to brown each one of them in your cast iron skillet or your pot. Brown them on all sides real good. Take them out if you have to, so you don't get too many in there. And then you cook them for 5 or 6 hours in your braising liquid real slow. When they get good and tender, right before you serve them, take them out of your braising liquid and put them back in the oven under a real hot broiler for a little bit, and it will toughen the skin up a little bit, because they're so tender. When you take them out of the pot, they'll just fall apart. But if you can toughen them up in the oven a little bit, it makes it a lot pleasant eating experience. The stuff you not brine them in, but sauteed them in, you take a stick blender and you blend all that back up and add a little flour to it or roux to it, and that will be your gravy or your sauce you pour over the top of the whole thing. Add the crackers to the crab bisque, and there you have a country style meal. Oh, the grape pie. Grape pie is an Arkansas thing. Concord grapes, everybody says you can't make a pie out of grapes, but you have to try my Concord grape pie. It is the best.
Hey, Mark, I tell you what a meal you did. Great company, great food. It just was wonderful. And now I need a place to go take a nap.
You go right here on the couch. Okay. You kind of picked out on my crab bisque, so I think you kind of like that, huh?
It was really good.
It probably ain't really crab bisque. That's just what I call it because I don't have another name for it.
It was
works
good.
out
A
pretty
lot
good.
of fun doing these things, and you just got a tremendous talent when it comes to cooking.
And a lot of luck. I had great help tonight too. I had Mike Mel help me do the sous chef and thing, and his wife Jamie helped him clean up, and it worked really good. Connie brought these out, really outstanding dinner rolls that were good.
Just
team effort.
A lot of fun, and it was great to be back in the kitchen again.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you what, can't wait to taste it. It just was just tremendous.
Good. Well, I can't wait to do it again.
Okay, thanks. I'm Ernie Rodina.
I'm Chef Telmark.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time on Better Horses Hearty Grub.
And keep your powder dry.
Closed captioning has been brought to you by Lina Weaver
and Flat Tail Ranch.
Those of us who devote our lives to the animals we love can recall a kind of dawning, like a seed planted deep within us and it taken root and begun to grow. It's why our family built a company dedicated to supporting the animals we all care for and this lifestyle we share.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
What do you get when you bring together one of the biggest names in veterinary medicine with one of the most caring and committed teams of horse health experts in the industry? You get a vaccine portfolio known for its quality and safety. A pharmaceutical line you can rely on to help manage pain and support performance. You get the products, programs, and people of Merck Animal Health.
Hey, thank you for watching Better Horses. And if you've missed any of our shows, check us out at betterhorses.com where you can see all our episodes.
You can also follow us on Facebook or listen to any of our podcasts right from your mobile device.
And don't forget our newspaper coming out 5 times a year.
You're gonna love it.